Can I have your attention, please? Everybody find a seat. I want to thank you all for coming tonight. I'm Rhett Simmons, Chairman of the Sumter County Chamber of Commerce. What a great crowd. We appreciate you coming. We hope it's an informative evening and you can learn something so you can make the best decision possible come Election Day. Y'all didn't come to hear me, so I'm going to make it sweet. I want to call on Dr. Neil Weaver, President of Georgia Southwestern. Thank you for having us, Dr. Weaver. It's a great facility for this event.
Thank you all very much for coming. We welcome you to the campus of Georgia Southwestern. This is your campus. This is your community. We're a part of the community, and we welcome you to come and be a part of what happens on the campus on a regular basis. And we're really excited when we get to host and participate in things that are community events that had happened here on the campus. So again, I'm looking forward to the conversation tonight. We're excited to be a place where the community can come and participate in these kind of activities. And we wish all of the candidates success. And we hope that you do a great job of getting your message out and that people will listen, pay attention, and make a wise and an important choice for our community. So thank you again for coming, and welcome to Georgia Southwestern.
Please stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Dear Heavenly Father, we just ask for your guidance on tonight's program. We ask that you stand beside each and every one of these candidates and help them to run the good race and to get their word out to the people that need to hear them. Dear Heavenly Father, please guide and direct all of us, those of us who've been in harm's way, those of us who are facing tragedy today, those of us who just need a helping hand, dear Heavenly Father, and we know that you're always right there with us. So please continue to listen to us and to guide us and direct us. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Be seated, please.
Thank you for that, Kim. Now I'd like to introduce our moderator for the evening, Mr. Lynn Hicks. Lynn, thank you for doing this for us. Come on up.
I'd like to thank the Chamber for allowing me to be a part of this. I, like Dr. Weaver, an informed voter is a good voter. An uninformed voter is a voter. So I certainly commend each of you that have come out to listen tonight. And I want to start by thanking all of the candidates who have stepped out of their comfort zone to run for public office. I will tell you, while I have never served in a public office, I have served in positions which sometimes I wished I'd have maybe taken 2 steps backwards and not gone out of comfort zone. But for an individual to step out in a public race to serve the public's will, the public's cry, the public scrutiny, and everything else takes a lot. And I hope that you'll look at all the candidates that are running and vying for races and thank them, whether it be the one you're voting for or the one you're not, but thank them for taking the opportunity to step out and do that. Our community needs more leaders, but we need those leaders to step forward, and I think these candidates have all made that choice to do that. Each one of the candidates that are running in the races, both in Sumter County, both the Americus race and the Andersonville race, were sent a letter inviting them to come and participate. We have 3 contested races out of both of those elections, and those candidates will be talking against each other tonight. The other candidates we will recognize by a letter that was sent to the candidates to understand the rules. It's basically the same rules we have followed in the past. There's a total of 7 minutes that each candidate is allowed to talk. The first 5 minutes pretty much is whatever they want to say. Then there's 2 minutes after that gives them an opportunity to rebuttal. After all the candidates have spoken and we've introduced them all, there's something different that the Chamber wanted to do this year, and that was to allow questions. Questions were asked to be forwarded to the Chamber before tonight, and you'll find on your table the multicolored cards And I will be asking you as you go along, if you have a question that you want to ask, please write it down. You can either be specific to the candidate, or it can be a general question, which means that all candidates will have a chance to answer anything that you put on that card. As we go through and in between each candidate, when we recognize them, if you'll just raise your card, somebody from the chamber will come get it. After those cards are collected, they will be filtered. I will go ahead and tell you they are being filtered to make sure that we do not have any inappropriate comments or questions that are being asked. Now, for some people that might feel like that we're squashing questions, but we want to make sure that the questions are fair to both candidates, because both candidates are going to get to ask. After those are done, they'll be handed to me, and by random pick, we'll ask those questions. Each candidate will, if it's a specific question, a candidate will have 3 minutes to answer it. The opposing candidate will have 2 minutes on a rebuttal. If it's a general question, any candidate that wants to respond to it can respond to it on their own, and we'll go through that format on that. All the candidates are aware of this format. All the candidates have agreed to this format and are here tonight to share their views and their platforms with each one of you. We're going to start in the city of Americus in the mayoral race. We have 2 candidates that will be coming forward. The first one will be Barry Blount, if you'll come forward to the table, and the other one is Lee Bernstein, if you'll come to the table also. By a draw of numbers, in this one, Laura Lee will be speaking first, and then Barry will be speaking second, and I'll give y'all a handheld mic that you can use at the table, or you can come to the podium, whichever one you would like.
I had the luck of the draw to be the first one to go, so let me introduce myself. I'm Lee Bernstein, and I live here in Americus. I actually moved to Americus about 7 years ago, almost to the date, from Atlanta, and I made the decision to enter the race to become mayor for several reasons. One, I've worked and lived in this community. I began working here in our technical college system, and then I also worked in our K-12 system, our local government, and higher education while I was here. And so as a result of that, I started to see, there's some things that maybe need to change in Americus. Things that are new and that are different. Things that are progressive action. I believe that we need to have transparent decision-making here. I served as the Chief Administrative Officer for the city for a little less than 2 years. And during that time, I saw so many things that I wish I could have helped to change. But due to the position that I was in, it was not appropriate, and so my hands were tied. But I got a good taste of what local politics is all about. I'm not a career politician. I've never been a politician. As you can tell from my background, I've been in education primarily most of my life. But I believe this community has a lot to offer. And I believe that this community just needs to step and do some progressive action. We need to make progressive decisions, and we need to be collaborative in our decision making. My platform includes, first, setting a plan, a strategic vision, having goals that are attainable and goals that are realistic. And I think that the mayor and council should be held accountable to make sure that those goals are met each and every year. I think there needs to be fiscal responsibility and fiscal accountability within the city, meaning that those goals, they should be funded by our budget, and everything should go and be aligned with that strategic plan that's set forth between the mayor and the council together. I think that planning in this needs to be collaborative, needs to include everyone at the planning table, not just one segment of the population. And I think decisions need to be made for the entire city as a whole and not for individuals or, again, one segment of our population. We need to set the stage and the environment for economic growth. And the way to do that is having a vision and a plan that everyone is aware of, that everyone is behind, and we put forward all of our efforts, including funding, towards accomplishing those goals. Our accountability and the budget needs to align directly with those goals. And it needs to be transparent, once again. I believe that also within collaborative planning, we have boards, we have authorities. These individuals are appointed oftentimes by the city, by the local politicians, and we need to take a look at those and see, are we keeping the same people on the boards over and over again, and therefore we're not getting anywhere? I think, what is it, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again with the same result. We haven't seen results, and I believe that's because we've been all over the map when we take our planning and try to move it forward. We tend to plan for individuals instead of for our community. I think I'm able to offer strong, decisive leadership as well. Again, being that I am not from originally Americus, but I have lived in the community, I'm collaborative because I've worked within all the different agencies and all the different areas of the community, including nonprofit and small business. And I've made my home here with my family. I think we need to include the universities that are in this county. We have 2 colleges that sit in Americus. We need to be tapping a resource there. We need to have the students involved on our boards and on our authorities. We need them involved in our planning. And we need to work together for us, for all of us, the entire community. Thank you.
Well, good evening, everyone. First of all, I want to thank the Chamber of Commerce for sponsoring this forum tonight, give us the opportunity to tell about ourselves and what we intend to achieve over the next 4 years. I want to thank GSW, my alma mater, for hosting this tonight. It's great to be back on the campus of GSW. I want to take this opportunity to introduce my wife, Tammy, the love of my life. We've been married 23 years and have lived in the same house together for that length of time. My private sector experiences is banking, and so first of all tonight I'd like to start off with some highlights that we've achieved over the last 4 years. Many of you may understand and realize that despite a decline in our tax digest and lower property tax revenues, we have kept the same millage rate at 10.32 mills, not only for the last 4 years, but for the last 6 years, going back to 2011. That's fiscal responsibility. But also the city has increased spending in a number of critical areas over the last 4 years to support economic growth, jobs, education, and quality of life issues. Let me touch on a few of those. We've increased the Humane Society funding by $31,750 to $70,000, which is a 45% increase over the last 4 years. Boys and Girls Club, we've increased by $10,000 to $15,000, which is a 67% increase. Arts Council, we increased that by $2,000 to $2,000, which is a 100% increase. Lake Blackshear Regional Library, we've increased by $30,000 to a total of $80,000, which is a 37.5% increase. The Airport Authority, we've increased by $2,000 to $17,000, which is a 12% increase. Payroll Development Authority, we've increased by $40,000 to $40,000, which was a 100% increase. Tourism Council, we've increased by $29,310 to $177,619, which is a 16.5% increase. Main Street/DDA, we've increased that spending by $114,409 to $202,459, which is a 57% increase. And we funded the One Sumter Foundation at $50,000, which is a $50,000 increase, which is a 100% increase. So the total funding increases over the last 4 years have equaled $324,469. That's not only fiscal responsibility, that's putting your money in programs that work for our city. The unemployment rate in August of 2013 in Sumter County was 11.3%. Of August of 2017, it was 7%, which is a decrease for 4.3%. And I will talk about some things later that will probably reduce that in the near future. At the present time, we have 800 full-time and part-time jobs in the Central Business District. Number of business licenses in Americus have increased over the last 4 years by 30%. We have now First Friday events downtown every month. We have the We had the Hot Glass Craft Beer Festival back in April, which was a huge success, which is going to be an ongoing event. We started the bike share program at GSW for GSW students, so that's been a very successful success. We've installed new playground equipment in Joyce Myers, Muckley Park, North Jackson Street, and McLammy Parks, and made them all ADA compliant. We converted the city to the city manager form of government. We reduced the cost of city health insurance for our employees by over $500,000 in the last 4 years and given them a wellness plan that includes biometric testing, which helps screenings to detect early health problems for our employees. We purchased 20 new police vehicles, equipped them with computers and dash cameras, increased our police officer salaries by 17%, purchased upgraded body cameras for every officer, and Part 1 and Part 2 crimes, which are the most serious crimes, are down 11.6% over the last 4 years. We privatized transit services, which saved the city $75,000. We lowered the cost of ridership fees for our citizens, provided better service. We now offer Saturday service with that, and ridership is up 6% this year over last year. We signed a mutual aid agreement with Sumter County Fire Department, which will hopefully help give us a 1 ISO rate in the near future. And we established the Sumter County Land Bank to help eliminate blighted and dilapidated properties. In the future, I have the privilege of serving on the member of the steering committee for the College and Career Academy, of which I think we will benefit greatly from that, from the establishment of that at the Americus Sumter County High School. And we will next use the springboard of the last 4 years for the next 4 years. And I also want to close by saying an announcement today was made by the PDA. We've got a new company coming to town. It's called Lexington Pontoon Boats, and there will be a job fair next Tuesday at South Georgia Tech. They're going to employ 80 new people. That's progress, folks.
We'll now start into the 2-minute section of that, and here's one first.
Well, let me tell you about some other things we've done in the last 4 years. We installed a wireless speaker system downtown, which I think really adds to the shopping environment of our citizens. We're revitalizing South Jackson Street with a new depot, and some houses in that area are changing hands, and you're going to see some renovation in those properties in the near future. And we resurfaced over 6.83 miles in the last 4 years in city streets. For the next 4 years, I talked about education. Next Site 360, that's a recruitment firm, retail recruitment firm, which we've hired, that one Sumter's hired, but it benefits the city, which will utilize our demographic information to identify and recruit new retail businesses for our community. But it will also assist existing retailers to identifying new products and services that they can offer in our community, which will hopefully be successful. As I said, we're going to have new retail stores located here, a new manufacturing job. Manufacturing is coming back. Had another company here, Resolute, that just opened its doors about a month ago. They're employing 50 people now. I rode by there Saturday afternoon, and they're working on Saturdays trying to catch up with some of the production they have. So, enrollment at GSW, we're record enrollment this year. South Georgia Tech continues to increase its enrollment. And I want to work with the people at GSW, because I would really like to have a presence at downtown of GSW, either residential or classroom space in our downtown. I think that is tantamount to the importance of our downtown and the success of GSW and South Georgia Tech. Thank you.
Having served as the Chief Administrative Officer for the city at one point, I can definitely speak to the budget because it's something that I work with very closely. First of all, the mill is continuing, the value of the mill is continuing to trend down. That's the way it's been since I was there, and it's still continuing to trend down. The reason for the money that is being in the general fund now, the increase in that, is because of the transfers that are occurring from the water and sewer department, our entity funds. The transfers have become bigger to offset the fact that the general fund can't sustain itself. That is not fiscal responsibility, because here's what will happen. If we take the transfers from the enterprise fund and they get eliminated and we have a major need within water and sewer, like replacing a well, something along those lines, we're not gonna have the money there to do that because we put it in the general fund to make all the additions that we've added to the city that the current mayor's referring to. That's not fiscal responsibility. We've inflated the budget is what we've done so that we can say that we have not raised your taxes. The value of the mill is still trending down, regardless of how you look at that. I struggle with being able to say that things are going well when I'm constantly approached as to why nothing's any different. So there may be a disconnect there between we think we're doing something, but I'm still hearing, what are we doing? What have we done? What have we done the past 4 years, the past 6 years? The speaker system of Jackson Street and Jackson Street, specifically Jackson Street, was a SPLOST activity that I recommended to the mayor and council back when we had our last SPLOST decision to come in. And that was because I could not get a list of SPLOST activities from the mayor and council at that time. And that was an idea that I came up with and presented to them and recommended to them. I was also the one that suggested that we switch the form of government from chief administrative officer to city manager so that the job could not be dangled in front of that individual at the whim of the 7 folks sitting around the room each year. And so it prevented corruption from occurring. Thank you.
This time, even though they're not contested races, I'd like to recognize the councilwoman from District 3, Lou Chase. Lou would like to stand. Give her a round of applause, please. And a new person who is coming on the council is uncontested, is Charles Christmas out of District 4. Charles? This time for District 5, we have 2 individuals seeking that. Is Dr. Shirley Green Reese, if you'll come forward, and Kelvin Pless, if you'll please come forward. By draw, Kelvin Pless will go first, and then Dr. Reese will go second.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Kelvin Pless. First of all, let me thank the Chamber of Commerce for allowing us this opportunity. First of all, just a little bit about myself. I've been a product of this community all of my life. I'm 51 years old, and the only time spent away from here was the time I spent at Troy State University. I had a lot that I added into that in terms of my leadership there in various aspects. I graduated from Troy State University with a degree in education, particularly music education. I came back to my hometown to raise my family. My 2 daughters, Tiffany, if you raise your hand, and Kivia. I raised both of those daughters when they were 3 and 6. That's responsibility. After that, I worked with the International Paper for 19 years. During that time, I had the opportunity to be a leader as far as a technical coordinator. I was also the safety manager, not safety manager, safety coordinator, ergonomics coordinator, a NARMA project, an environmental auditor. Following that, for the last 6 to 7 years, I'm now with the Georgia Department of Juvenile Justice in the Education Department, where I work with some of the best and most challenging kids that anybody could have. If you think public education is tough, try my field. But the beauty of all of it is that we've transformed young men into becoming productive citizens. With all that said, why do I want to become your next city council representative for District 5? It's because my passion and love and my integrity toward everyone is what let me back up a minute. I'm going to get in trouble on this. My wife, Deborah Pless. Deborah, stand up, please, daughter. I got a few minutes. All the way from Texas, Nacogdoches, Texas. And she chose to come here and be a part of this beautiful city. Anyway, back to what I was saying. I came to contribute back to my hometown after leaving Troy, and I did have options, but I love this town. My parents, brother Andrew Pless, Sr., Tilala Pless, my late mother, who died back in February, raised me with the old-fashioned values. And those values don't only carry so far as me talking to you as an individual, but in every way I serve. The way I plan to serve on the city council is to work with all the council members, including the mayor, whoever that may be. I look forward to serving the community. For the last 16 to 17 years, I've been in communication with Sumter broadcast each Sunday morning, starting at 6 a.m. With that gave me a lot of experience with communication. I'm not fearful of people because I love people, and people most of the time love me back. With that going forth, I believe I can serve in the full capacity that I need to. There's concerns that I have around Americus. I mean, we're not a perfect town. It's a good town. But above good, there's got to be excellence. In that capacity, when I get my 2 minutes, I'll be a little bit more specific in those terms. But I am Kelvin Pless, and I want your vote to serve you on District 5 City Council. Thank you.
I guess now would be the appropriate time to do one of those things. Good move on introducing your wife.
Oh, yeah. Go home. One vote.
Good evening. I am Dr. Shirley Green Reese. I attended the public school system right here in Americus in Sumter County. My sister and brothers and I learned from 2 loving parents. This is where I've learned that what matters is not just your name, but what you get done to help others. It is where I learned that you usually get more done when you work with people who need you most. I also learned that you have to be prepared to make tough decisions that will make a real difference in people's lives. I'm giving back my services to a community that made a difference for me during my childhood days. I have a lifetime of experience, qualifications, leadership ability, and a proven track record of providing educational, community, and public service on the local, regional, state, and national levels for over 25 years. That counts. Right here in my hometown, Americus, Georgia. For the last 4 years, I had the privilege to serve as your representative for the District 5 seat on the Americus City Council. I'm seeking your vote and support for another 4 years term. Over the last 4 years, I stayed true to my 2014 campaign promises. I will continue to promote a more effective and accessible government, in addition to promoting several policies that will improve the quality of life for taxpayers throughout District 5 and the city of Americus. I'm proud of what we have achieved in the last 4 years. I'm proud of my record, but I'm not done yet. As councilor for District 5, I will continue to offer new ideas for an ever-changing district. Some of the improvement we have made during my tenure on the City Council, or implementing the Land Bank Authority and Family Connection, increased shop productivity by 200%, resurfaced 6 streets, and more, upgraded some of the city parks, improved Easter Morning and Elm Street area stormwater drainage, reduced staff shortage in the police department, reduced our crime numbers for the first 6 months in 2017, established a robust health and wellness incentive-based program for employees. Many, many more improvements we have conducted during the city of Americus. We are still facing one of the worst economic downturns we have seen in decades. I will take an active role to assist in finding new industries and businesses to accommodate the jobless citizen of Americus. I believe there is still work to be done. This is the primary reason why I decided to seek another term. I love the city, and I have discovered that being in office does make a difference for District 5. My campaign is about economic development, fiscal accountability, sustainability, transparency, collaboration, and a voice for District 5. I must admit, progress has been made during my 4 years in office. If elected, I will continue to work and help grow our community wealth, to build upon the great work of those before, to make our city an even better place to live, work, and raise a family. Now's the time for new approaches. Now's the time for innovative solutions that will build an ever stronger America. We have much work to do. As a city councilor for District 5, I will continue to take a respectful and professional approach to strengthen investment in our community, putting family first. I will continue to work collaboratively.
Dr. Reese will be going into her second 2 minutes now at this time.
Thank you. I will continue to take a respectful and professional approach to strengthen investment in our community, putting families first. I will continue to work collaboratively to invest in public safety, strengthen our workforce, attract new businesses, revitalize local investments, and encourage prosperity for families. These are the priorities that will grow our community wealth. These are also the key actions that will lead to increased economic stability, to support and promote America's unique human, cultural, and historical resources. Let's work together to grow District 5 and the community wealth. Let's work together to meet America's challenges and celebrate our successes. I would like to continue making a significant difference for 4 more years. I cannot accomplish my agenda without your support on November the 7th to vote for and re-elect Dr. Shirley Green Reese as your next City Council representative for District 5. Thank you. I thought I can continue. Okay.
There's a saying in education that students don't care about what you really know or what your background is, but more so about how much you care. I care for Americus. In talking to some potential voters while I was out campaigning, I heard a lot of genuine concerns. Everything from infrastructure, our sewage system, the economic balance. I mean, personally, I like to see us go to what I like to call a 15-25. $15 to $25 an hour jobs in our community. I don't know how much influence the city council have on it, but it should be touched in some kind of way. I just witnessed a lot of properties are going down in our city. Houses are abandoned. A lot of people are renting. So that's an imbalance. From what I looked at in the statistics, we're like 60 to 40%. 60% more houses being rented versus people owning. That's oppression. And when you have oppression, you have crime. I don't care how we look at it. I've heard people say this is a retirement town. There's nothing wrong with that. I think it's time to make us a retired town more secure for those who do want to retire. But at the same time, we can't forget about those people who are working age. When we have students to graduate from Georgia Southwestern State University, or South Georgia Tech, or even local high schools, we need to put something in that they can walk into. Once upon a time, we had the Davis and Rubber companies. We don't have that anymore. We have the minimum wage. And there's nothing wrong with minimum wage, but when I was coming along, it was more designed for you when you get out of high school to make better profits for yourself so you can get to the next level. I think we need to take a greater interest toward excellence. We're good, but we got to become an excellent city. That city that sits on the shiny hill, we need to brighten our lights. My saying is, this is your town, our town. Let's come alive, Americus. There's a lot of work to do. That's why I want you to elect me as your City Council District 5 representative. Thank you.
That concludes the City of Americus. We're now going to the City of Andersonville. First of all, is Scottie Barnes here? I'd like to recognize Scottie if he's here. He's running for post 1 in Andersonville unopposed. The next post 3, Velma Coley and Chris Wooden. I know Velma. Okay, all right. Velma, if you come down. We hope everything's okay with his family. I'll let you go ahead and go, and then you can do your full 7 minutes. Okay?
Okay. Good evening, everyone. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Velma Jean Pride Coley. I hail from the little town of Andersonville, Georgia. I was born and raised there. I'm the oldest of children of Willie Mae, the late Willie Mae, and Kelvin Pride of Andersonville, Georgia. That's my home. I'm here this afternoon or this evening to let you know about myself. I got 4 children. I have 10 grandchildren. Those are grown children now, mind you. I graduated from the Sumter County Comprehensive High School in I would tell you, but you'll try to count. I furthered my education at Velma College in Atlanta, Georgia. I came back to Americus and lived down here for a while, but you know, Andersonville was just calling me. That's my home. That was my father's home, my granddaddy's home. So we came back to Andersonville. I said that we were transplanted there, but I don't know. But I know that I came from Andersonville, and I would not leave there on no grounds at all. My stand tonight is that I am running for re-election for the councilwoman. Some of you probably didn't know we had a council in Andersonville. Just be honest, did you? But we do. I've been on the council in Andersonville for the last 8 years. I love Andersonville. My father, like I said, was there. My granddaddy, my grandmama, I was raised there. They always say if you be raised in Andersonville, it's a lot of clay up there. And if you get that clay on your feet, you'll always come back, and I did. because I stayed away for about 15 years. My husband was in the Air Force, so we stayed and then we came back. He came back to Americus, I went to Andersonville. So and then eventually he came to Andersonville. But I'd like to tell you today that we are a quaint little town. Everybody know everybody. We on a first name base. We have problems, I give it to you. But we don't have these major problems. Things we can talk about, we talk about. I know my post lady by her name. I know my rural postman by his name. I know my next door neighbor across town by her name. So you see, we are a quaint town that loves everybody. That's where our heart is. That's where my heart is. And I just would tell you, I would love to be the council lady for Post 5 of Andersonville. We have 5 of us there. Everybody know everybody. We got Scottie tonight is sick. And I don't guess he want me to tell what's wrong with him, but he got shingles. They used to say that shingles was an old folks' disease, but it's not, because he's a young man. So I tell you tonight, we're praying for him. We're praying for everybody in Andersonville. It's just a nice time to be. We got a lot of history. We're under construction now. We're doing some things. We talk it over. We don't fuss. We don't fight. We just talk over things. We do what we have to do. We have a small maintenance department. Call them by the name. When you call them, you can tell them, I got a log here that's 3 inches. You come and get it. They right there in 2 minutes. So you see, we're just a town that's full of history. We want you to come out there and you see what, some of you I know have never been to Andersonville. But you need to come to Andersonville and see what it's about. Come to our council meetings. We don't argue. We just discuss things. We talk it over. I may not agree with what she says, but he might not agree with what I say. Scottie might say, okay, Miss Velma, that's not right. Okay, I can compromise. I know how. I'm old enough to know how to change. So I tell you, I love to be a council lady for the city of Andersonville, Georgia. I've been there for 8 years on the council, and I would like to be there for 8 more years, however the good law allows me. So I tell each and every one of you, come to see us. Come and see about Andersonville. Come and get some information about Andersonville. You'll be surprised. It affects you also. So I say to each and every one of you, vote for me, for the council lady, Andersonville, Velma Jean Pride Coley. Thank you so much.
When it's time for registration for a position in Washington, D.C.? Jeez. At this time, if you have written down any questions, or hopefully you've already turned them in, raised your hand and given them to the ladies. Got one right here. No. While they're doing those, I'd like to recognize, is Linda Palmer, is she in the room? She is running for Post 6 in Andersonville. I didn't see her or Alan come in. Again, I want to go through, while they're collecting those to give to me, I want to go through in the city of Americus, a mayoral race, if Barry Blount and Laura Lee Bernstein. All right, if y'all two would rise, just so we can, everybody recognize again. District 3, Lou Chase, unopposed. District 4, Charles Christmas, unopposed. District 5, Dr. Shirley Green Reese and Kelvin Pless. And of course, in Andersonville, Post 1, Scottie Barnes, unopposed. Post 3, Velma Coley and Chris Wooden, who are bidding for Post 3, and then Post 6, Linda Palmer. Okay. All right, somebody going to bring the mic. This is a general question that is asked for the mayoral race. And what we'll do is the mayors will give the mics to one of them. I'll reverse the order which they spoke in. which means that Barry Blount will go first. Each candidate has 3 minutes to respond to the questions that I've given. The city has renewed focus on the economic development through its downtown revitalization efforts and tourism. If you could add one thing to the city's toolbox for economic growth, what would it be?
Downtown?
Yes. Economic development in the downtown revitalization.
Well, there's no doubt that I would like to have every storefront filled, and we're working toward that goal. Patrick Kay, who's our downtown development director, he's been very active in recruiting businesses to come to Americus. Had the privilege of going with him to Douglas a couple of months ago on a recruiting trip, and we have a new retail store that's opened up just recently, Classy 5 Boutique. And so we are recruiting new businesses to come to our downtown, not only retail shops, restaurants, and we are looking for professional offices to locate downtown. We're looking to make downtown a very robust atmosphere. We're trying to create jobs. We want college students to be able to come downtown and enjoy themselves. To make downtown the envy of Southwest Georgia. We have a very beautiful downtown with the Rylander Theater, the Windsor Hotel. We have a lot of assets already that downtowns in this part of the state don't have. And so we're trying to build upon that. We have a great foundation for it. And I look forward to great things happening in our downtown in the near future. Part of that also, Georgia Southwestern. I go back to that again. I would like to see Georgia Southwestern have a presence in downtown, either classroom space, resident space. No pressure, Neil. We'll give you some time to work that out. But I've just seen what's happened over in Columbus, with Columbus State being in downtown Columbus, and I just think there's a lot of potential for that will increase and enhance our downtown environment.
I actually live in downtown Americus, so I can certainly speak to what I see going on and what I think we might could do to help that area. There are a lot of abandoned buildings, storefronts have closed up. I think that we need to work with the owners of those buildings to see if we can't encourage them to maybe bring the buildings up to code and not put that responsibility on the person that might want to rent the space, or be willing to negotiate the rent to a cost that people can afford and that they can move their businesses into. I think we also need to support the businesses that are there. A lot of the storefronts are now staying open longer, which is nice, but I can tell you on Sunday and most late Saturday afternoons, downtown is dead. And I know that because I live there, and I see it. The music I can hear on Sundays and nobody's down there, and it's a little odd, to say the least, but it's certainly a nice change. But I think we need to focus more on encouraging those people that own the buildings downtown that are available for possible stores or classroom space, and we need to get them to work with us on making that available so that people can afford to move their businesses in there.
The next one is for the City of Andersonville Council. No, ma'am. The question is, what do you see as the city's greatest issue or challenge? If elected, how would you work to address these issues?
The greatest issue?
Greatest issue or challenge?
The challenge I see is that we need more buildings that will be occupied. For instance, that we have 2 buildings that are open. That's our Welcome Center, and we have a restaurant that's open. Those are the only 2 buildings in downtown. So I would like to see more people coming down, renting our buildings, and just come and stay a little while, and then maybe you'll get attached to Andersonville, and you want to, rent one of the buildings over there. That's my challenge that I see.
next two questions are specific questions. First, Mr. Pless. What community services have you been involved in, and have you ever served on any committees or boards?
Yes, I've served on a number of committees and boards. I've served on the Rylander board before. I've also been a member of the Sumter County Board of Education also, where I was on the policy committee, property, as well as finance. I also am the founder and president CEO of Americus Incorporated. I've been running that organization now for over 30 years. And it is a 501c3 program which is serves humanities and the arts.
As we said earlier, each candidate, when they were addressed specifically, the other candidate would have a chance to make any comments they would this time.
Thank you. I have served on several local, state, regional, and national committees and boards in higher education throughout about 5 universities where I have served effectively as a professor and an administrator. I was the first female athletic director in the state of Georgia. I was the first female who served on the NCAA Management Council, which is the highest council you can serve on in athletics that governs all of the athletic program throughout this world, including UGA. And I have served, I'm the former president of the Boys and Girls Club Board of Directors. And I have served on that board for over 15 years, and I just received the medallion hooded by President Carter at the last Steak and Steak dinner, among other educational boards all over the world. And to name them, I will, if you would like to name them, it would take a long time. So if you would like to talk about them after this meeting, I can share your list. Thank you.
The next question is specific to Dr. Reese, so she'll have the mic. What areas will you continue to focus on for the next 4 years and why?
Oh, good question.
3 minutes.
Okay. Oh, I will continue to focus on transparency and economic development among the city council and administration of the city. I have a heart for fiscal accountability because I have been an administrator at the university level, and I am a tight person with that budget in terms of distributing money. I'm tight on dollars, especially when they're not my dollars. They're taxpayers' dollars. So I will also focus on customer service, good customer service, because the taxpayers are our CEOs. You are our CEOs. We're just servant under your leadership. Oh, and transparency. Don't forget that.
Mr. Pless, same questions to you. What areas will you work on to focus in the next 4 years and why?
Okay, again, some of the concerns I would have, especially when we talk about transparency, uphold our Constitution for one thing. The freedom of speech is very concerning. That ain't got nothing to do with what you may see here to the right, but it's just the right thing to do. I don't think one thing about communication, everybody should have that opportunity. Everybody's different, and we're not going to always agree, but until we listen to each other and gain understanding, we will never get along. You can't just sweep certain things on the rug. The other things that I'm concerned about is our infrastructure. Again, our sewage. A lot of the constituents have complained about the sewage system, the infrastructure. There's going to have to be some kind of study, I'm guessing, that have to be done to address that. Just like most cities around the United States, I'm sure the Americus isn't the only one that have that problem. But just because they do that, I mean, we have to be the same way, of course. Other things, well, of course, safety is always first. I want to see our security enhanced through our police department, whatever we have to do to support our local agents. I know there's a lot of things that go on in our community we can hide if we want. I see a lot of gang symbols, and I'm familiar with what's that all about because that's where I work every day. And that's gonna have to be addressed, or we all in trouble. I mean, it's just like a wildfire with wind blowing against it. So there's a number of other things that we need to consider, especially for all of our safety.
This question is open to any of the Americus candidates, which means those that are uncontested. If any of the candidates would like to respond, we'll give them a chance to answer this one first. What do you think should be done to encourage and foster development of the empty buildings, both downtown or in residential streets? And this is open to any candidate that would like to speak to that.
Okay, I guess while I'm on the road, downtown, and I know that's a loose word to say, it's a little dead, but we're gonna have to liven it up. And what I'm thinking is going on, and based on what I've read and got to understand, I think there's a lot of restriction, and I'm concerned about the micromanagement of certain things that go on within the city. We're just there to manage. We're not there to be the HR per se of a person's personal business. And of course, we want to keep it safe and oversee those operations. And we don't want to put so much restriction on a business until they can't operate either. So that's one of my concerns about the downtown development. Also loosening it up a little bit so the college students can look forward to coming down and share. And again, we want to keep it safe again. Keep enough patrol downtown so that people will feel safe. Of course, we know we live in a crazy world, and the minute we take something for granted, that's when things are going south on us. So that's one of the things I have in mind as far as downtown is concerned.
I think the question was about residential and downtown structures, is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Both
Let me talk
downtown
about-
and residential streets.
Okay, well, let me talk about downtown real quick. The DDA has come up with a neat plan. They started buying properties downtown. They sold the Science Center several months ago and bought the old Randy Jones service station right there on the corner of Cotton Avenue and Forsyth Street. And the plan is there to develop that into something where somebody will come in and occupy it, possibly a restaurant or something like that, rent it and possibly buy it. And so the DDA would take the proceeds from the sale of that and go out and buy another building downtown, renovate it, and do something with it. So there is a plan in place to address some of the empty buildings downtown. As far as residential structures around town, there are some empty houses around town. That's what we have the land bank for. Some of these larger banks like Wells Fargo and Chase Mortgage, you know what they'll do after a while? They'll get tired of the maintenance and paying taxes on those properties, so they will give them to an entity like the land bank. The land bank can take them. They're not constrained like local government is. They don't have to take the highest bid. They can sell it to somebody else. They may get a little lower price, but they can also put some teeth to what the person that's buying the property will do with it. The person will say, I'm going to fix it up and I'm going to sell it. Well, that's what the person's going to have to do. So that's the reason why we have the land bank in place now. So we're trying to address not only empty buildings downtown, but also empty structures in our residential areas around town as well.
Thank you, Barry. I see, since I've been on the council the 4 years, I've seen downtown, because we got new leaders who are in charge of downtown, the tourism director and the downtown person over here. They have done a magnificent job in doing some work downtown, and it's looking better than ever. It's looking better than ever. Now, I served on the land bank committee, and we have torn down, given away, and so many homes trying to clean up this city. We have done a wonderful job, and we continue to do a wonderful job. And I enjoy being on that land bank committee because I got a chance to help identify, areas where we have these homes, because I think we took a ride around the city. Because we're trying to attract jobs, businesses, because we cannot get them without cleaning up the city. And the homes are our first take on it. So our downtown area is the best that I've seen it, in a long time, since my 4 years here and since I've been back in Americus. Thank you.
Is there any other candidate like to speak?
I would ask the question of, if we have land bank authorities and we have downtown developments, who are the people benefiting from this? Who are on these committees? Who are on these boards? Who has the vested interest in this, and is it for the benefit of everyone in the community, or just those that are on the boards? I can't help but question that, especially if we are the ones, or the city's the one appointing those board members. Are we seeing the same people over and over again serving on just different boards? And we're rotating them in and out of the different boards, and things are maintaining the same course. So I would like to look at, start at the ground level. Start developing, again, a strategic plan. What is our vision? What are our goals? And putting people in place to make those come to fruition, become attainable. That's exactly what we need to do first. And when we address that, then hopefully we'll be resolving some issues that are across the board, not just for downtown, for the entire city.
No, that's just. All right. Any of the other candidates, did y'all know?
Most of you that know me know I like to talk, so. One of the things that, downtown is our core. It's great to see everyone here tonight, but it's like everyone has said, it takes all of us, and it takes all of us getting involved to make our downtown great. And, one of the things that I've seen since I've been in Americus is we've started First Friday. I remember the first one that we attended, there was very few people. Now you go to First Friday and there's more and more people that I don't even know. And that's a big deal, it's people coming together to our downtown. That's what attracts also businesses to come in and open up shop and to cater to the people that you and I that spend our dollars downtown in our local business and keep our money local. But one of the things we have to do is we have to get everyone involved. The committees that's been talked about, everything else, a lot of times no one wants to do it. So you do get the same people. So it's important that everyone takes an active role in their hometown. And here in Americus, it's a tremendous town to live in. I fell in love with it a few years ago, moved here, bought a house. It's my hometown now. So I encourage all of you, to get involved in what's going on in our hometown.
Okay. All right, the next question is specific to Barry Blount. Why isn't there a place at Reese Park Playground for children and their parents to use the restroom? There is no facilities.
Reese Park Playground?
Reese Park Playground.
Must be talking about Joyce Myers. I don't know, there's,
I think I'm talking about the Reese Park where the two fountains are.
well, Reese Park is really not a playground per se. It doesn't have any kid toys there. It's a place for just people to go and walk and enjoy it. We do have bathroom facilities across the street in the building if they're open, but that park has never been intended to be to have restrooms that I'm aware of. I mean, that park's been in there for, golly, as long as I've been alive, I guess. And so, there are, none of our parks have restroom facilities that I'm aware of. I think the only one that has them right now is Rucker Street, and might be something we could look at later on, but, as far as the cost and things of this nature, that might be something we could look at, but it might just be something that would be cost prohibitive.
Okay. Well, do you want to respond? There's no response on that. All right. The next one is for Laura Lee. Specific. What is the number one priority for strategic planning? Why does this matter, and why is it important?
With the strategic plan, We're bringing together the elected officials, and we bring all of the stakeholders to the table, to the planning table. Without a plan in place, a vision for the city, we start haphazardly determining our priorities based on whims. They're not driven by a plan that everyone is on board with. And so I think that the purpose of a strategic plan and a vision for the city gives something for everyone to focus on. It gives us an ability to transfer and get the funds in that will align with that plan. And it gives us the opportunity to set attainable goals and realistic goals that the community can hold us accountable for. Did we meet those goals? We can do that each year to put a check on ourselves, to make sure that we're still staying the course, and also to just make sure that that plan is as good as we think it is. It's a collaborative plan. It's important to have them, and the vision is important because then you don't just randomly fund things and randomly come up with ideas that never seem to play out. We do a lot of talking in this city, but there's not much action.
Derek?
Thanks for the question. I hold in my hand strategic plan 2015, 2019. It's here for you to come and review. I've gone through this. There are 57 items in the strategic plan. We've done 23 of them. 23 of the 57 items have been completed. And this is only halfway through the plan. 31, we've started. We've got ongoing progress in 31 of the items. So of the 57 items in the strategic plan, we've either accomplished or got ongoing progress in 54 of the 57. There again is accountability. We've done the strategic plan. We're putting funding. We're achieving those plans. And so here it is in black and white, if you'd like to see it.
All right, our next question is open to any individual running for office. What is your position regarding the continuation of First Friday? Any of the candidates? Lou Chose?
Thank you, and thank you again for the invitation to be here tonight. First Friday concept, I think that was an initiative of Patrick Kay and his committee. Not really. Not really?
It was started before I got
Okay. But it has been enhanced, let's put it that way. I think it's great. Like Mr. Christmas said, Mr. Charles said, you've got to come downtown and participate. There's been several. You can't go to every one of them, I understand. But there are a lot of visitors that come specifically to downtown for the First Friday. But it also is a little concerning for the ones that I've attended that there are not local residents that are attending. So it's there, the opportunity is there, the business owners stay open to try to, if you don't see anything that you want to be able to purchase right then, you can come back maybe and do it at another time. But the restaurants, they offer the trolley rides, they have music playing, just the atmosphere. So it's your downtown, come downtown and enjoy it.
Any other candidate like to address First Friday?
You know, I think First Friday, that was something I really wanted us to do, because I thought it would give us opportunity to bring people downtown, to meet one another, to interact with one another. But I think that's something we really need to do more of. But it also gives us the opportunity to have college kids come to downtown America. It gives them something to do on a Friday night. And so I encourage you, to come downtown and enjoy it. It's the first Friday of each month. I know my wife and I, we enjoy going downtown, just walking the streets and seeing people in the stores, and I think it just creates not only economic development for our retailers and restaurants downtown, but it just gives us an opportunity to converse with one another, to talk to one another, and meet people we may not even know before you go downtown. So I think it's a great concept. I think Patrick might have started before Patrick got here, but he's really enhanced it. And so if you haven't come, I think you need to come and enjoy it. I think you will find it's a lot of fun and brings a lot of people downtown.
Any other candidate? Okay. The next question is an open question to all candidates. How would you mend the relationship and communications between the citizens and our government.
I don't think there's a problem with the citizen throughout the city. Maybe some may have some problems. If they do, we don't know about it. I think we have a good communication of all races in this city, and things are going just great as I see. We may have some problems, but you know, you're gonna have problems everywhere, in every city, every town, everywhere. But as far as I see it, I see a good collaboration and communication among the different races here in Americus, Georgia. And that's why I'm back home.
Somebody told me when I first took office, if somebody gets mad with something going on in Washington, they say, I'm going to write my congressman. They get something mad about something that's going on in Atlanta, I'm going to call my legislator. They get mad if something's going on in local government, they say, I'm going to go see the mayor. Well, believe you me, they come and see me. They find me. They know where I am. I have an open door policy. If somebody has something they want to talk to me about, I'll be glad to talk to them about it. I may not agree with them, they may not agree with me, but I'm happy to have the dialogue. And I think that's the only way you can have true communication. But you know, we're all local here. We all see each other every day. You know, we all know one another. And so I think it's incumbent upon us to have open communication, to have dialogue, to talk. I mean, you know, if there's more talking, there might be a few less problems in our country today. So I'm all for, you know, transparency and open government and open communication.
While I've been campaigning, I hear a lot of the issue of transparency. And that is something that I believe we struggle with within our city government. Transparency is something we certainly strive to have, but I think that absolutely it could be more. And I will say, when you are a transparent form of government and your stakeholders and your community is involved and aware of the decisions that go on, it eliminates a lot of confusion and people feel like their voices have been heard. But we limited that in the city for folks. And that was something that I did not agree with. We limited the right for people to speak at our own council meetings if it was something that they were speaking on that they didn't agree with. It had to align with whatever was being discussed at that moment in the meeting. And that's not fair to the citizens because they are the ones that get the information last. And it shouldn't be that way. They should be part of the process. And part of local government is having dissension. There are going to be people that don't agree with it. But I can tell you, I didn't get into this field thinking that I wasn't going to hear anything except good things about me and what I'm doing. It's part of it. You set yourself up to get criticized when you come into politics. I think anyone who's been in politics can agree with that. And it's not fun, but it's part of our job. But to limit the public from being able to do that is wrong. This is one of our abilities that we have as U.S. citizens. And it may not be something that we agree with necessarily that's being said, but it is part of our civil rights.
Mr. Pless.
Thank you, Mr. Pless. Okay, this situation that you just mentioned.
She'd already spoke. That was a different question. I'm sorry, Dr. Reese.
Lynn, on this issue in reference to speaking, this is a matter for our entire community here to address together, to produce the best education experience possible for our kids. So this is something the community can decide on.
One of the things about communication is, I think it's a thing of, you know, we can get too complacent or comfortable with our own circle. And that meaning, based on the experience and background that I have working at the YDC, knowing how the mindsets of people are, I just feel like I could talk from what we consider the lowest to the highest CEO. I think a lot of times, especially since the time I've been campaigning, I heard the voices of the poor community and their concerns, the middle class, as well as what you want to call more of your high class people in the community. All of us live in this community together, but a lot of times our people in the projects get left out. We just get focused on one part of the town. And I don't mean that out of no racial thing, it's a demographic issue. As a representative, just like I'm doing now, I'm not afraid to talk to anybody or reach out to them and hear their voices. You know, even some people refer to it, hey, they think I'm a thug and I got bullied when I went there. And that's not fair. We all are American, we live up under the same constitutional rights. And if you really love your people, you don't put yourself in one particular sector or town or whatever. Our district covers a diverse community. And I plan to continue doing that. I love the door-to-door contacts that I've been making. I mean, because I've really heard some sides that probably I would have never known unless I've talked to people. So I plan to continue that. There's as big as communication through our social media. We're just gonna have to reach people where they are so our government can run better. And bring that to the city council, and I hope that we could come together, understand the needs of our entire community, not just one particular section. I think that's how a government can come together.
All right, our next question is an open question to any of the candidates. What is your position on the green energy development as it is and its impact on Americus? Any candidate.
I can't speak to all of this because there may be things that have gone on that I'm unaware of, but I can speak about the recycling program that is in place currently at the city. And it was an initiative that was brought about for residents of the city and their desire to continue recycling at the city. I think that can certainly be expanded. The problem is that the city signed a contract years and years ago that prevents a lot of recycling efforts here. And so I believe that that is something that over time we can certainly grow a program like that. I also believe that the solar energy piece of the pie can be furthered. We had an opportunity at one point when I was with the city to use some of our land as a solar field. Someone wanted to come, set up the solar panels, maintain them, and pay us rent for that, for being on the land. And we weren't able to do that because apparently we were not able to sign lengthy contracts again because of the other contract that was signed as far as the waste authority. That's something that I would like to look at for sure, because we do have land as a city that could be developed in that way, especially if there's nothing else that can go on that land. If it's somebody that's paying us money and going to maintain the solar panels that are there, then that's a no-brainer to me. And it's certainly something that we might want to look into, because the cities that have these kinds of things in place tend to attract people and businesses because they believe and see that we're practicing sustainability for our environment.
Any other candidate? Our last question tonight is directed at the mayoral race. What is the number one issue facing the city of Americus? The number one issue facing the city of Americus? And if elected, how would you work to address it?
Probably the number one issue facing the city of Americus today is education. We have a problem in education in our community. And it's not just a city problem, it's a county problem. I'll say a problem with education. We need to be more open to new ideas in educating our young people. That's the reason why I'm happy to be on the steering committee of the College and Career Academy, because in today's environment, just because back in the day when I graduated from high school, many years ago, there were a lot of kids that graduated from high school and they could go to work on the farm, or they could go to work in a factory somewhere, or doing something with a high school education. You can't do that anymore. A high school education gives you the ability to go to a college or technical college or something like that. But if you offered the College and Career Academy, and I don't know all the bells and whistles of College and Career Academy, but it gives an opportunity for kids that may not necessarily want to go to college. It gives an opportunity to learn a skill or a trade that will fit with a local business or an industry here in America so they can go to work for when they get out of high school. And so that's what we need to be open to. We need to open our new horizons to our young people, to give them the opportunity to get an education that they want to get, not something that we just want to say, we want you to get 4 years of English and 4 years of math and 4 years of science, and then we're going to give you a high school degree, and then we're going to let you go and see what you can do with that. So I think that's a real challenge for our community. We're working on the dropout rate. I think that is coming up, and listening to Dr. Schultz talk the other night at the Education Summit, which, by the way, was a great event, and I hope many of you were able to come to that. And so I think with doing things like that, it's going to afford our young people an opportunity to not only get a better education, or an education in the field they want to, and give them an opportunity to get a job. If they want to have a job in whatever particular field they want to get a job in.
Education is certainly an issue in this community. I actually work in a college and career academy right now, and as the mayor said, it's an excellent way to spark some energy in our young people and to give them maybe some even hope to be able to remain in the community and have a job when they get finished with the program. I think education, though, is just one facet of what is really important here. I think we need to go back to the basics. We need to be an us, and that's why I use that in my slogan, putting the us back in Americus. And I think that we need clear and collaborative relationships with all of our stakeholders. Everyone needs to be at the planning table. Everyone who has a stakehold in this community needs to be at the planning table, not necessarily literally, but their ideas and their voices need to be heard. And when we can come together as a community and plan effectively and efficiently for everyone, the entire city benefits. And we can strengthen those community foundations. We have them in place. We can strengthen them with fresh ideas and new approaches. We need our young people in this community to get involved just as much as our elderly population is involved. And that takes fresh ideas, innovation, energy, and collaborative efforts. I taught in the high school here at Americus. Those children, those students, are more than willing to be a part of the community, but they don't understand it. They truly thought the key to the city was going to open a door somewhere in the city for them to go into when I showed them that. And so when I helped educate them on the process and what happens in a city and how local government works, they got excited. They wanted to get involved, and it's part of the reason that led me to even run for this seat to begin with, because I was able to connect and to see that the energy and the desire is there, but we oftentimes are elitist about it. We only want certain people at the planning table because that suits our interests. And that has to change. That attitude has to change, or Americus is going to dry up. And so we need to get some excitement around it, and we need some young faces, and we need some energy. And I think with that and with the collaborative efforts of all of us and all working towards the same goal, we can achieve it.
At this time, I'd like to ask the candidates that are stepping out to please rise, as this concludes our program on this part. Barry Blount and Lee Bernstein running for the office of mayor of the city of Americus. Lou Chase for District 3. Charles Crispin for District 4. Dr. Shirley Green Reese and Kelvin Pless for District 5. Please give them a round of applause. In the city of Americus, for Post 1, Scottie Barnes is unopposed. Post 3, Velma Coley. Ma'am? City of Andersonville, I am sorry. In fact, y'all got an event coming up in October, don't you?
Yes, we do.
And
Historic fair.
a little bitty small fair, I think it is. Big fair, yes. Yeah. And Charles Whitney is not with us tonight, and we wish him well. And Post 6, Linda Palmer. Please give all of those a round of applause. As I started out earlier, I think an informed voter is the type of voters we need in the United States. And I think that from tonight and the communication efforts that you've seen from the candidates here, they want to hear from you. They want to hear your voice. They want to hear your opinions. They want to hear your thoughts. They want that because they want to be able to do what they can do on the city council, whether it be in Americus or in Andersonville. Please reach out to them. Each one of them wants your vote. Each one of them wants you to know about them, so please do that. And again, thank the Chamber for allowing me to be a part of this. Brett?
In closing, I just want to thank everyone for attending tonight. Thank GSW for hosting again. To our candidates, thank you for your dedication. One thing that comes through is you all care very much about our community, and I appreciate you putting your neck out there to try to make a difference. Good luck. Please remember, early voting starts on the 16th, and Election Day is November the 7th. Thank you for coming.